Okay, something that I get presented with a number of times is exactly what is the Black Age and why did the Black Age come about? What the Black Age is, it's an actual movement, typically referred to as a movement of people who produce and create independent comic books, graphic novels, games, movies, and the like. Initially, when the term was conceived, it was dealing with material that was derived from the Black, African, or urban experience. Then it went on to embrace material that was also created by independent people outside of the mainstream. And the reason for that connection is that there's a tendency that people who were doing things in the Black Age were coming across the same obstacles and issues and had some of the same vision as people who weren't per se coming from a real Black or urban perspective. But when it came to production issues, some creativity, wanting to work outside the box, wanting to bring in new concepts, that there was a lot of similarity. So the Black Age now is growing in terms of movements. We've been doing this for almost 3 decades. So you're talking about a second wave, a third wave that has come about that's propelling it forward. So it's a definite movement. It is in motion, and it's in motion with a freeness to it. What do I mean by free? That people are signing on and defining it for themselves. So it's not orthodox, and I'm hoping it never develops that kind of traditionalism where people feel like they have to be cookie cutter and fit right in. Why the Black Age? A lot of us were freelancing and working during a period that we used to surprise people, and the surprise didn't always go over well. What do I mean by surprise? You'd send your artwork to a company, you talk to them on the phone with your professional sounding voice, and when you showed up, they'd look you up and down and say, "Why are you here?" And you'd be like, "Well, sir, my name is Mr. Onli, and I'm the one that sent you that character illustration." And he's like, "Wait a minute, wait. You did this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did this." And they say things to me like, "Well, you're Black, and we didn't know Black people read. And we didn't know Black people read science fiction. And we didn't know Black people could draw this kind of stuff." And it was kind of shocking to be hearing this. I'm thinking, poor baby, you know, you've even had Black folks that worked for you years ago and you don't even know it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and so for me, I was like a mainstream illustrator. So I was working for Playboy, Johnson Products here in Chicago. And, you know, I'd take my trips to New York. I lived in France for a while. And I was doing what I call my cosmopolitan rhythmistic kind of thing. In other words, you couldn't nail down the ethnicity and the race of the subject matter. And, you know, it was really far out, okay? And so I'm ping-ponging around, but I'd send the artwork, and every time when I walked in the room, you'd see them wilt. And I'm like, okay, if you all are having problems with the fact I am Black, let's just be Black on you, okay? Let's just call it the Black Age so you know what to anticipate, so we can take away the surprise factor. So if you're uncomfortable with being surprised, you know, you can take yourself out of the mix. If you can go with the flow, you can show up and participate. And I think that what's happened with that is it's given power to people in the mainstream, not just African Americans, but people who want to innovate, people that want to do something different, either with existing material, meaning characters and concepts, or their own ideas and their vision. There's a tendency in American culture and creativity that, like whenever industries, creative industries, arts industries want to expand themselves, they tend to turn and say, well, what's going on in the Black community? What's going on with colored folks? What's going on with the Negroes? What's going on with the African Americans? And then those things that are going on ooze over, and you have bulldogging, or you have potato chips and fried chicken, and you have all kinds of things. You get jazz, you get blues, you get R&B, you get hip hop. You know, you get a lot of things to happen. The Black Age movement has the potential that the creative people and the innovators get to have a little more control, and control is important. Not just financially, but I mean, what could be more important than finances, right? Believe it or not, there are. And one of the things is the control of your vision, that you want to see it flow to its linear logic based on where you started and where it ends up. So most of the people that are working in the Black Age are entrepreneurs by choice, some by force, but everybody's working with that concept. When I say entrepreneurs, they're financing their projects. They have a staff of however many people. You know, they're wearing all their hats, and that's not unusual in the United States. I mean, when you really think of the bootstrap concept that is a tradition in America, the American dream is as much have a thing of your own as it is have a good job and, you know, apple pie and a chicken in every pot. So the Black Age really is reaching back in that legacy where all Americans have participated and innovated. If you look at the early days of comic books, it was like that. You know, the men that got together and created comic books, and comic books being censored in the 50s and blackballed and recreating itself and all that. This kind of problem solving ebb and flow sort of just goes with the territory.
Let me ask you this. I mean, it's obvious to most people, but for some people who may end up watching the documentary, if you could distinguish between the Black Age in Chicago and what people would find and the experience that they would have, as opposed to what they would experience and see at some of the major Comic-Cons. You know? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, in Chicago we give, oh, oops.
Go a little tight.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Cool.
Okay, in 1993 I organized with some other people, those people being Craig Rex Perry, who has gone on to work with Disney, and Tim Jackson, who's a cartoonist. He does editorial cartoons. We got together and put on the first Black Age of Comics convention. And the idea of the convention grew. So still giving the convention. When you come to a Black Age convention, the emphasis is on being an independent publisher. We focus on that. We try to celebrate those people who do that. We embrace the mainstream in that we invite mainstream artists and writers to participate, and we give them extra attention and love too. It's a smaller venue, okay? We count our traffic 500 to 1,500 people. But people are more dedicated, and it caters to a market and a growing interest flow of people who don't find themselves in the mainstream. They don't see the mainstream products and make a connection. They don't see the characters as being representative of them. And I don't just mean the look of the characters, but the storylines. They see them as being a little too corporate and being too caught up in their own brand and their own history, and they need something that's fresher and more immediate. To them, the mainstream is like an aircraft carrier, that it can't make a move unless all systems are go, and then it slowly turns. And the Black Age is like a speedboat. It's moving all over the place all the time, as is the independent movement. And so when you come to an independent Black Age convention, whether you go to ECBOC in Philadelphia or OnyxCon in Atlanta, what you'll experience is the combination of seasoned professionals and neophytes, people who are just that new to the game, but all being embraced in a positive affirmation that we're here to do this work. Yes, we had critical conversations. And when I say critical, I mean we talk about each other's work with a criterion, standards for evaluation, not put down an insult and attack. You know, we're not here to offend each other. We're here to embrace. So rather, it's kids, you'll see kids drawing on the wall, not directly on the surface. We put up paper for them, and then they go for it, okay? And then there's some ebb and flow conversation, and a lot of talent comes out of that. A lot of them will come to us with their samples, or they want to see our work and to talk about what's it like to sort of go through the ins and outs, you know, as a professional freelancer, where do you study? But the attention can be more focused. It's sort of like you could go to a hospital or a big clinic, or you could go to your family doctor. And the Black Age is more a family situation. In fact, a good friend of mine, John Jennings, who does a character called The Hole, which is a great character, he one time referred to the Black Age event as a family reunion where nobody is blood relatives, but everybody's thrilled to see each other. And it's really true. You know, it's like it escalates as we go from table to table and person to person. For me personally, it gets in the way of me making money because I want to check people out. I should be holding down fort and selling my product and smoozing with customers, and I want to know this guy, and I want to know this woman. I want to see their work close up to see what it's like. And I'm not the only one that's like that. We're all like this. But it's a smaller venue where you can get that kind of attention, and then, you know, we all go our separate ways. You know, but we go our separate ways with a kind of unison, with an acceptance that we are part of something that is growing. And what is growing is the influence and the real potential and the real presence of the Black Age movement.